death and rebirth is a cycle, eternal life. Yeah. And even in my darkest days, I'm abundant in love and light. Uja tonight. Uja tonight. Uja tonight. Uja tonight. Life, prosperity, health. What I see when I look at myself. My energy flow into currency. I am the bag, time to manifest wealth. Universal glow, free souls. Showered in love everywhere that I go. Knee deep in the dirt on rainy nights. Water in the seed of life so the trees them grow. For the labor, we mesmerize the world with this flavor. And we don't care about no haters. Shining too bright, you can't shade us. They're too rude to return them. Bye bye Babylon, we gon' burn them. They're too rude to return them. Bye bye Babylon, we gon' burn them. And every death and rebirth is a cycle, eternal life. Yeah. And even in my darkest days, I'm abundant in love and light. Uja tonight. Uja tonight. Uja tonight. Uja tonight.
Let the moon talk, yeah. I am the sun, moon, and the stars, yeah. I bring the light through the darkness, yeah. We done seen enough strife, time to run it up, yeah. Let me take this moment to honor the fallen. They rise through dimensions. We strong with their presence. And what they didn't hear, we gon' clean it up. And what they didn't feel, we gon' live it up. And what they didn't see, we paint the picture. Rainbow body, the full spectrum. Breathing in this cosmic wisdom, releasing what don't serve me no more.
And every death and rebirth is a cycle, eternal life. Yeah. And even in my darkest days, I'm abundant in love and light. Uja tonight. 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 Uja tonight.
Hey, how are y'all doing this Saturday rising? This is Soul Therapy Childhood Podcast. I am your co-host, Plum Queen. Y'all go.
What's up, you guys? It's Queen Misha here. Good morning, Grand Rising.
Hey guys, this is Taquita. Good morning.
All right. That is one of my favorite songs.
I'm gonna need you to send me that.
Yes, y'all should definitely check it out. That is Free Soul. He is one of my new favorite artists. Him and his sister. Well, no, I believe that's his wife, Lava with 2 B's. Yeah, they're popping. I have not heard a song yet that I did not like, and it's all love and light, and it's
Love it.
popping, and they be jamming. So yeah, definitely check that out. Well, all right, all right, all right. We are back this next Saturday Rising to tackle these childhood traumas. So last week it was just me, my sisters. I'm so sorry you guys wasn't there, but it's all right.
Yes.
Y'all are here today, and we're gonna get y'all thoughts and your
Yes.
perspective on the definition of childhood trauma and the different types of them. Now, I done talked y'all's ears off last week, so this is all about my sisters to get their thoughts and their perspective, so we can continue to on this journey of healing with our childhood traumas. All right. So I guess I'll go over a little bit of what I said, and yeah, you ladies just jump right on in. As a matter of fact, what I should do is go back to the definition of what that is. So you know what I can do is we're gonna look that on up so everybody can see what that is. The internet is so cool.
I hope everybody's having a blessed Saturday morning.
Yes, it is a good day to be alive. Always a day to be alive. All right, Google, here we go. Let us define what childhood trauma is. Let's see if I can bring this up on the screen with you guys, because I think that would help, don't you think?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit?
Just a little bit.
Okay. Right. Well, in the meantime, in between time, ladies, you tell us how you define childhood trauma.
So for me, I define childhood trauma as any event or series of events in your childhood stage or ages of life, which is typically from 0 months from newborn to 16 years old, 18 years old technically, but really within the first 12 years, the things that you go through on a level of, I guess, such chaos and disruption within your body when it comes to causing the emotions that you feel, that it kind of leaves you in a stagnant energy or in a low vibrational energy, just because as a child you don't know how to process that event or the series of events that's happening to you. And so you go into this shell, you go within, and you kind of emotionally, spiritually, and sometimes physically, you hide from the world, more so emotionally, and you don't know how to really communicate or express what you went through or what you're going through. And so it kind of leaves you in a stagnant state of mind, or a not as advanced of a state of mind as a child who doesn't have childhood trauma, basically.
All right. And how about you, Scorpio son?
I agree with Misha. I just feel like it's a series of events that you partake in, or you not partake in, because it's not something that you want, but it's something that you go through from the age of 0 to 17, and just affects you mentally, emotionally, physically. And spiritually, like she said. And it's something that you can either choose to carry with you throughout your life, or you can choose to kind of be proactive or choose ways to cope with it. Some people cope with it. Some people, choose to just kind of, turn to other things. But pretty much it's just things that you go through as a child, whether it's sexual abuse, mental abuse, emotional, physical abuse, that tends to kind of set the tone for your adulthood.
Exactly.
All right. Well, you guys are absolutely right. Google on my computer want to act up, but according to the National Institute of Mental Health, it states that childhood trauma is defined as the experience of an event by a child that is emotionally painful or distressful, which often results in lasting and mental and physical effects.
Right.
Okay, so pretty much what you ladies said. As children, you go through things, and to be quite honest, as children, that is you're learning everything. You just got to this world, so all of your senses are still heightened. You're kind of still a little bit attached to the source. So everything that happens to you, your body absorbs it, your mind absorbs it. You know what I mean? And it follows with you. And as a child, you're trying to figure those things out. You haven't been taught how to deal with those things, so they become very traumatic. And I'm going to add this, even the smallest things. Now, I don't know if there should be a different word for it, but I'll give you an example. I don't feel traumatized by this, but I can see how it can be considered traumatizing because it stuck with me, and it made me make certain decisions. So I had an aunt, and if my family was nothing else, we were clean. My grandmother, she taught us, you have to be clean if nothing else. So when we were children, when I used to go visit my aunts, when it was bath time, when we got out, what she would do is have the butt check. All right. So she would take her finger and pretty much swipe it through our butts like a credit card to check to see if, we cleaned our behinds, good enough. And if you didn't, there was a roast session for about 5 minutes. My aunt would go off, ew, you stink. You better get your behind back in there. You so lazy. Da, 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 da. It was extremely embarrassing. Now, she didn't do that she did it in front of my cousins, any of my other family members that was in the house. You know what I'm saying? So it was very embarrassing. Now, traumatizing, yes, but that set the tone for my cleanliness. Because once I became a teenager and started getting them little feelings for boys and whatnot, those are one of the things that came to my mind. Like, if you gonna go out here and get these men your body or whatever, they gonna smell it. So you got to make sure, that they don't do the blood test. You know what I mean? And it be your problem. You laughing, but I'm so serious.
I know you are.
That's what came to my mind. It definitely did. So,
hey,
that was traumatized. That was traumatizing.
Yeah.
And she probably shouldn't have did it. Embarrassing me wasn't the right way, but I will say it set for me a positive tone.
Mm-hmm.
See, I agree. I can attest to that. As far, I wouldn't, like you said, I wouldn't call it like, I don't know, like you said, you don't know what to call it. I wouldn't call it like trauma, but like growing up, like you said, like my granny, he was like, we were cleaning 24/7. Wake up in the morning, she got the music on. Y'all know what time it is. It's time to clean the house. We were dusting, mopping, washing, whatever it was. So like me growing up like that, and my mom and my grandma, because my grandma practically helped raise me. Like that's how I am. I'm like that with my kids. I'm like like I can walk in from work when I used to work out, and I would see just one thing and it would just set me off. And I feel like I got kind of like OCD from it because it's just like, I'm like, no, I got to have everything clean. So like one thing is out of place and I just go off. So it's like, I'm trying to kind of scale that down. I had to like be like, okay, well, these are kids. They're going to mess up for one. So kind of give them room to like kind of be messy, but stay tidy.
Understand the responsibility of keeping a clean home.
So it's kind of like instead of just every time I see a mess, clean it up, just allow them to be messy and then just give them time to, you know what I'm saying? Like I had to kind of step back and be like, okay, I'm becoming my mom, I'm becoming my grandma. So I mean, so it's not like a bad thing, but it's just like, okay, so it is another one of the things that kind of you remember and kind of shape and mold you as a adult.
For me, it was my mom was very serious about the type of feminine products I used whenever I was becoming an adolescent and teen, starting my menstrual flow. And so I will never forget there was a pool in the apartment complex that I lived in. And all of my friends, for some reason, it was nothing for them just to pull out a tampon, and, pop it in so they could go swimming. And I will never forget asking my mom if I could put a tampon in so I could go swimming. And oh my gosh, you guys, she ripped me a new one, like accused me of having sex and I was maybe like 12, 13 at the time, but for some reason she associated using the tampon with you being sexually active. And so like I was forever embarrassed. I just never ever tried to go swimming again when I was on my lady time. But you know, I was told a story from where she was a child, and I think she wanted to use a tampon. I'm pretty sure she wanted to use a tampon, but basically it resulted in my great grandmother accusing her of being sexually active, and at 11 taking her to a gynecologist to be examined, and that was really traumatizing for her. Because at 11 years old, no one should be entering that sacred space, whether it be a doctor or someone else. And so that traumatized her. And I explained to her, oh, okay, I see now why you kind of inflicted that and reflected that onto me is because, that was your experience. And so you were kind of taught, that tampons equal being sexually active, but you forgot that you weren't sexually active, like it was something that was just being projected on you. So I've tried to be a lot more laid back when it comes to my daughter and the feminine products that she chooses, to use with her body. And also let her know that no certain product is right or wrong, when it comes to your menstrual flow. That whatever you use doesn't attach you to your sexuality because it's not about sex. Your menstrual flow has nothing to do with sex. It's a whole energy and power being relieved and cleansed, so.
Well, that just goes to show us how education is important, how we really need to start teaching our children about themselves. Before we move on, our small little story that goes along with what you said. My grandmother is the same. She grew up in an old South, and she didn't really start finding out about how her body works, or at least her reproductive system works, until she actually started having children. Because she grew up thinking that babies came from a stalk in a black bag, or the doctor, gave it to you in the black bag, and things of that nature. So she didn't understand any of those things. And then she really couldn't explain that to her 6 daughters.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but now we need to be the ones teaching our babies about their bodies. You know what I'm saying? I don't think school should be teaching them that at all. You know what I'm saying? It'll be different once they get into high school, maybe.
Yeah.
But,
even in high school, it's not. It doesn't. No, they should not.
That's why I said maybe. That's why I did the maybe.
Because they're still, they still gonna put it as a, they don't add the spiritual aspect of sexuality. Right. Nothing involves the spiritual aspect, and in reality, when you're sexually active with somebody, you're transferring energies, traumas, on top of whatever physical, things you may have going on with yourself. But on the energetic, your body is basically a computer system, and when you touch stuff, your body picks up the energy of that and holds it. So when you're touching another being in a sexual aspect, you're taking on whatever emotions, whatever traumas, whatever feelings they have stored up, or just resonating in their aura, and you're taking that on as your own, and you don't understand, why have I been sad or angry the last week, or it's because you're carrying a person's emotions. So schools don't teach you that being sexually active is, a spiritual activity, a spiritual, ceremony, ritual that you partake with someone. They just teach you that it's an act you do to relieve yourself and to reproduce. It feels good and you get babies out of it. Like, that's as simple as they kind of go with it, I feel.
And that's unfortunate. So that's why we gotta, as parents, got to take that on and add those things to it. So if any of y'all are listening, please start under. Matter of fact, a lot of adults honestly don't see it that way either. Like I stress this a lot. You know what I'm saying, about how we're just overly sexual. Like it's like we can't. That's the one thing we can't live without. We are willing to, what's the word I'm looking for? Compromise our health, risk our lives. For that 20 minutes to 60 minutes, you know what I'm saying, worth of pleasure. It doesn't even last forever. And we are just willing to sacrifice everything to have it. It's like abstinence is just it's absurd. It's absurd to ask. And you know what I'm saying, to ask a human being to be abstinent,
Exactly.
and y'all don't understand the traumas that you are just transferring on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
I said, it's energy. Like you're exchanging DNA. I know it sounds like we're getting a little bit off topic, but it
Yeah.
you don't understand like those traumas that that we're going through. You transfer that through sex.
And it's not even just that person that you're being sexual with, it's whoever that
People they
person is
having sex
sexual.
with.
Right. You having sex with one person, but in reality, you could be having energetic exchange with 10 different people, you
That's
know?
a fact. That's a
And
fact. So
so,
dudes who thinking, oh, I just take this one last week, that week. This is why you got these women problems, because you got all this
right.
toxic feminine energy flowing through you, and
Yeah.
you can't shake it off because you just keep finding them.
Yeah.
And then another
And
thing I
all they
want to
partners.
add to that is um, just stuff that you've gone through as a child. Like me personally, just being transparent. I've had a couple of situations as a child where I was, I guess you can say, approached sexually by men, older men, or just like boys my age. Um, and, I guess boys that age, adolescents, 15, 16, 13 years old, sex is like heightened for them. So, like, I've been approached by even like just people who or younger guys that I thought were closer to me, in sexual ways, try to be very just be sexually or force it on me in some type of way. So
Mm-hmm.
that also kind of projected my view on men in sex, growing up. So that also is trauma, as a child,
Mm-hmm.
and then I didn't have like the birds and bees conversation. Like my mama didn't have that conversation with me, like at all.
Right.
So like, of course, like y'all said, I learned through school. I wasn't taught like, hey, like honestly, I'm gonna tell y'all this story about me coming on my cycle. All right. So this is how this happened. I was asleep. I woke up, went to the bathroom. I was like, what the heck is this? And like I'm telling y'all, when I was younger, I used to see the like little tampon commercials and stuff like that. I was like, Mom, what is that? Like I will always see females, but I'm like, what does this mean? She was like, you'll know about that later. You don't worry about it. She
The
just
day of.
pushed it to the side. I never
Yeah.
had that conversation. She was like, you'll figure it
Yeah.
out later. And I promise y'all, I did not know what the heck it was. I went to the bathroom. I had a good night rest. I had took a shower, had my favorite pajamas on, had to be about 13, 14. Went to the bathroom, was like, what the heck? I'm like, Mom,
Yeah.
I'm just yelling for my mom, like, come here. And then she was like, I wish this day would have never came. And I was like, what? What is going on? Like, what is the dramatic? So like,
Yeah.
that's how I literally was introduced to a period, a menstrual cycle. Like that's how I was introduced to it. I knew nothing prior to that. So, I've of course made it evident to kind of, make sure I talk to my daughter, my son, about stuff like that, the birds and the bees, the menstrual cycle, you know, about being clean and keeping your hygiene up and stuff like that, like just different things like that, because I wasn't taught that. Like it just was like, hey, when it happens, it happens. Like that was just kind of like my life. And then like I said, with the men and the young boys like pressing themselves on me, it was like I had to kind of like hide myself. I was very like insecure, like even today I still deal with a lot of insecurities about myself, about my body or whatever. I remember my daughter coming to me, and as she started to develop, breasts, she would, wear baggy clothes or, hoodies and things. And I'm like, okay, like what's going on? Why are you whatever? And, she had a problem with herself developing, she felt insecure. And I could relate because, I was like, I was the same way, kind of developing. I remember when I went to prom, like the dress that I had on, it was just like it wasn't revealing, but in a way it was. And like, I had a shawl, I was covering up, I was like this, and like, just very uncomfortable, around your body and things like that. So, it's very important for us women to kind of be very comfortable in the skin that we are in. And if we're not, kind of take steps to kind of do things to better ourselves and make ourselves more secure in our bodies or whatever. So, I don't feel like we should hide our bodies because of like childhood traumas and things that we went through. Of course, don't be out here dressing provocative, crazy and whatnot, but,
Right.
Being reserved, but, not feeling insecure because of how we dress or how we look, and still be able to be beautiful and sexy or whatever without having to feel like, being sexualized, So that's something that has carried with me. And, even to this day, I'm 34 years old and I'm still like in that energy of like trying to kind of rid that from my childhood experiences, and just know that, just be comfortable in my skin. Like for the longest, I wouldn't take body pictures. It would just be for the face up. And then I just started, like, over the last like maybe year, I started to gain a bit of a confidence. And now I'm just like, hey, this is me. You take it, you either like it or you don't. It is what it is. Okay.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I can see how
That's how that works over here. You know what I'm saying?
pretty much. I can see how those traumas. Yeah. I can see how those traumas would project. First off, kudos to you for talking to your son as well about the menstrual, because you get a lot of boys, even men, who are so taboo. They won't go in the store for their wife to get her tampons, or for their daughter. And like that, if they give birth to a daughter, it's like,
I had to say that.
yeah, your mom, your mom is going to help you with this, and they don't really understand that. So for you to go ahead and expose them to this is what your sister's going through, or will go through. This is what I go through. This is what women in general go through. You should know what it is and have some level of education in it. It's like beautiful. But I've seen from being over sexualized, I was kind of the same way. It's kind of crazy how many people, because, from family members, on the males and females, to, my mom's friends' sons, just so many people, like you said, trying to be sexual with you at such a young age, that it takes away a level of trust from just humanity in general when it comes to sex. And so with my daughter is very filled out. She's very blessed with the little body that she has. She'll be, and it's like, I find myself wanting, even though she already likes to wear hoodies and sweatpants and stuff, but she also likes to wear her little gym shorts, and I'm like, Skylar, you can't wear those. And she's like, Mom, this is my body. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's not too much. These shorts go down almost to my knees. Like, you can't just have me dressing up like a burrito because you're afraid somebody's going to look at me sexually, like that's a misogynist world is what she called it. She's like, you're being a misogynist. Yeah, this is my body as a little girl. And if that's the case, people shouldn't be looking at me like that. But, I'm not dressed inappropriate. I just have the body that I have. Right. And so being able to check that and be like, you're right, you're in a healthy environment and everyone isn't looking at you sexually. That's big. As parents, a lot of parents project their childhood traumas and fears onto their children, like making them the way, trying to control the way they dress and stuff. And very few people actually looking like, no, that was my environment, but I've created a different environment for my child, and so I should let them be a child.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we have thoroughly talked about, I guess, sexual childhood trauma of the sort. We went into that. Yeah. So let's see what you ladies think about some of the others. Okay. So these are the common types of childhood trauma: abuse and neglect, family violence, community violence, school violence, life-threatening accidents and injuries, frightening or painful medical procedures, serious and untreated parental mental illness, loss of separation from a parent or a loved one, natural or man-made disasters, or forced displacement or refugee status, discrimination, and extreme poverty. So which one do y'all want to talk about? That's a lot.
Well, I was in foster care on and off as a child, and then for 4 years in high school, 4 years in high school. And so that was pretty traumatizing, especially because my foster parents, for the most part, usually were not of melanin skin tone. And so that lack of understanding and from the way that I was raised while with my mother wasn't there. We would get picked on basically by our foster parents because of the way that we ate food, like putting sugar in our rice, or what was it, our spaghetti. My mom, to save money, she just make a big old pot of spaghetti and pour the sauce in there and everything all in one. You got to milk for a couple of days. So being bullied in that sense of the way, and then just it was just completely different. So that was pretty traumatizing, I feel, for both of us. But then also, I think a lot of people, I come across a lot of people who, when they think of war, like they think of the over in the Middle East or something, and they think of the child warriors. For some reason, people have a habit of not classifying those children as children anymore because they are in a military or because they have guns, and it's like, at the end of the day, this is still a child that's being forced to do something, and that has to be traumatizing for those children who are being made to murder and kill, random people and not fully understand. So there's so many ways of childhood trauma can go down that the best thing to do is not try to compare your story to other people's story, and to understand that everyone's journey is different and everyone's going to go through what they can handle, and a lot of people can't handle it. That's why suicide rates are so high. And so I think that war is probably one of the most traumatizing. If you're a child being raised anywhere where there's a war on your soil, and but we can go across seas and talk about literal war, but then we can also talk about the war in the neighborhoods. There's plenty of children. I thankfully was not raised in a neighborhood. We weren't rich by any means. We still had poverty, but my mom was always blessed to be able to be in a neighborhood or environment where there wasn't gun violence and stuff going on. And that's war right there in America going on, that children are exposed to. Children laying down sleeping and waking up to bullet holes going through their houses and stuff. And so it's really just not putting a label on this is what trauma is and this is how you experience, because the world's proven that you can experience it 90 million different ways.
Absolutely. How about you, Scorpio sun?
Well, it's so many places, so many things. One thing that came to mind when Misha talked about bullying, I know I was a product of bullying. I don't take it lightly at all. So especially like if my kids coming home and telling me I'm ready to buck, okay?
Mama bear.
I did not take it lightly at all. Because bullying is just, to me, it's like it's a childhood trauma as well. To be teased or bullied because of what you're lacking, and knowing that you have no control over that as a child, and you're being bullied for something you have no control over. You have no control over the clothes you buy, how you look, how you present yourself at school, at a young age, because everything is being provided for you from your parents. And I just really feel to be talked about or to be bullied because of that, or because how you look, a way that God made you, or it's just like, to me, it's like, and then I feel like bullies, they they tend to do things that they do or talk bad about you because of their own stuff that they got going on. So it's hurting people, hurt people. So it's like a continuous cycle. And it's like, now being an adult, it's like I see it, but in the midst of it, you just build up this anger towards them. And I remember this one girl, I was in middle school. She and her brother, they were close, and I knew her. I talked to her a couple of times, but she was very quiet, very reserved. But she was like the buck end of like so much bullying that went on in the school by several different people. And she would just always get talked about, like how she dressed, where she came to school in. I remember I seen her mom one time and she came in and she was just like going off. And I don't know what was going on inside their household, you know, that's what people fail to realize. And so she came to school, you know, she always got talked about. Um, Fast forward, the school got news that the girls committed suicide. She killed herself, and her brother found her, and her brother also attended our school. And what's so crazy is they had a funeral, whatever, they had like a little vigil and funeral for her that the kids from the school can go to. And what blew my freaking mind is that the same kids that bullied this girl to death had the audacity
Literally
to go to this girl's funeral and talk and speak as if they never did anything and partaked in anything. When I tell you, to this day, to the core, and I still see some of these people on Facebook that I see through mutual friends, from, you know, high school and things like that. It just blows my mind. I don't know how you can live with yourself knowing that you partaked in somebody taking their life because you wanted to be a
just
bully,
being
because
mean.
you wanted to talk about them. Like, that's why I just really don't take it lightly. Like, I feel like nobody should talk about somebody else because what they lack, especially as a child, because they have no control over any of that. And so that's just really sad that, you know, you can push somebody to that level. And that's why I make it very evident to talk to my children about things that they go through, you know.
Right,
My
because that's
kids
where it
have come,
starts.
yeah, and my kids have come home and told me about things that kids have said about them. But I encourage my kids, and I give, you know, I speak life into them. I give them confidence. You know, I remember my daughter, she wore her natural hair. She went to school, she wore her natural hair. And literally she came home and said, she said that, you know, the girls that were not melanated came to her, like they would say things, why do you have your hair like that? And this and that, and just question her or just talk negative stuff about her, you know, and just kind of make fun of her. And
Yeah.
it just really boils my blood, you know what I'm saying? Like, because your hair texture is different from my daughter's hair texture, it's a problem. And like, I just, I dislike it so much. It's just, it really triggers me still to this day, as y'all can see. So it's just like, you know, I just very dislike it. And I feel like it starts with parents. I feel like I tell my kids all the time, like, you know, you never talk about somebody else because they're different from y'all, because we all
Right.
are made different. You know, that's what makes
We
us,
have our own journeys.
you know. And you know, it doesn't matter what color they are, black, white, orange, yellow, blue. You love everybody individually. You judge a person off their character, not their looks, not, you know, what they
The
choose to wear
material thing.
and what they choose to do. Like, everybody is different. I don't judge anybody. I'm not probably the least judgmental person. You can come in here with the, you know, a red wig and, you know, some fish. I don't care. That's you. That's how you choose to express yourself. I'm going to get to know you, the person inside. So I feel like it starts with the parents. The parents need to start teaching their children the value of being yourself, living in yourself, and being comfortable with who you are. And no matter what anybody else got to say about you, like, if I had the confidence that I had then, like those female,
Right. Can I get a redo? No, when I know better.
girl,
Like,
those female
that's what I mean.
people
Well,
who,
y'all got to redo. Y'all got
But
kids. Your
you know,
kids is
spirit.
your redo.
Yes, but spirit also, if that person is meant to give you an apology, or if you're meant to come and that person is supposed to see you in your greatness, that time will come. Because I experienced the same, where I was terribly bullied the whole, you know, yes, like my whole from preschool to my junior year, I was bullied, even my senior year. And for me, I will never forget. I was an X-ray tech. This was a few years ago. I was an X-ray tech at this place, you know, getting paid good money, a nice job. And one of my high school bullies came in with a few of her children to get a drug test, and I was the one that gave her drug test. And you know, like, that moment, like she's kind of looking at me and I'm like, you should be really glad that I'm like not a vengeful person because I could fail this drug test right here, and it wasn't even about that because obviously I would never do that. She passed the drug test, but like that, like I could see it in her face, like, really, you're the one giving me my drug test? And I'm just like, luckily I have the heart that I have. But also, I had my senior year bully was another brown skinned girl, and she I don't know, she didn't have no problem with me in reality. She had her own stuff going on in her life, her personal life, and I was just really timid and sweet and easy target in school. And so she actually messaged me like 2 years ago. I believe it was like 1 to 2 years ago on Facebook Messenger, and she actually apologized. And she was like, I just felt like I needed to apologize to you for the way that I treated you in high school, because in reality, I was just a hurt child, hurting people. And I had my own stuff that I was going through, and so I was coming to school and projecting that onto you. And so she apologized, and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, like there's no timing, like whether it be yesterday or 15 years from now, like I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Thank you for recognizing that and, giving me that sense of healing. And so, that's what we have to realize when it comes to school is children are just projecting their home environment and then, the programming and beliefs that they've been taught when they're at school. And so it's for the parents to create that. But when the parents aren't emotionally able to watch that or project that because they're going through their own traumas, especially if you have younger parents, then I feel like the school systems and the education systems should do a better job, because they have these bully campaigns that they put on. But my daughter's been called a porch monkey every week now for the last 3 weeks on the bus. Like racist terms, being called the N-word on the bus daily, like right now, like stuff like that in class, like the way that the teachers go through history. Like I was ran out of class multiple times being, during civil rights time. I hated civil rights. And, oh my gosh, I hated civil rights so much. But because like the first time I got called the N-word was in social studies class. And my teacher was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed lady. And she kind of just looked at me like, and then, I had the assistant teacher was a melanated coach. And he was like, now she slapped the shit out of you for that. I'm not going to say that. I mean, I'm going to look the other way. But the main teacher isn't saying that. Like, I'm not getting permission from the main teacher, right, to do that. And so, especially here in Kentucky, the trauma that you can obtain being a brown-skinned child in these school systems is on a different level. Because even in high school, I was being ran out because we would try to go to civil rights. And everyone was like, oh, is Emmett Till your cousin? Is Emmett Till, and they would like badger me and bully me and degrade me to the point of me running out of the class and sobbing. And then the teacher's looking at me like I'm being weak or like I've done something wrong, before leaving class, for not allowing myself to be subjected to that. And so when it comes to, if you have your child in a public school, like, yes, you have a level of teaching that you're supposed to give them on how to teach the world, but then the schools have to back that up. You can't have teachers sitting and watching racism, blatant racism go on in their classrooms, and they don't have the decency to correct those children who have the same skin color as them. I'm
gonna keep it real with you, sis. You're gonna have to homeschool you're gonna have to teach your children.
Oh, all right, yeah.
System that is not about our children. Not trying to make this a black and white thing, but at the end of the day, the system was not set up to teach. To be quite honest, to teach any of us outside of the people who run this country. You know what I'm saying? That system is made for them to thrive.
If you look at it, millionaires, multimillionaires don't have their children in public school for a reason. Nope, exactly. Right? What did Elon Musk do? Exactly. Elon Musk, he created a school for his children. Exactly. And so that's what we have to realize, is this education system is really just the training of animals. That's really what it is. It's
they call the pipeline, school to jail pipeline is what they call.
Yeah, exactly. Like now,
or to be slaves.
Yeah, exactly. Work all your life. You can only go to the bathroom when I say so. You can only eat when I say so. And like I made a point earlier last year about how a lot of these teachers, they're powerless in their own personal life because they're not doing the healing that they need to from their own traumas in life, and so they come
Take
to
that out
school
on
and
them
they're on an
kids.
ego trip.
Take that out
Yeah,
on them
they're
children.
on it
But
exactly, and so
that's
I
why
think
if I ever get to use my womb, if I ever get to use this uterus of
yeah,
mine, I gotta homeschool my kids because Plum Queen will
of
be in
course,
jail.
of
Girl.
course,
I would be. I will tell you all
exactly.
the time. You'll never know until you have kids. Bullshit. I
But
have
it's
never.
also environmental because Georgia, people from
Well, see, I'm
Georgia, they
from New
look at me
York.
like I'm true, but they look
Well,
at
see,
me
I'm
like
from
I'm
New York.
crazy for
That's
having
different.
like self-love problems. When I went to Atlanta, they be like, "You just not learning to love your hair. You just not learning to love your skin." And I'm like, you got
Let me
nowhere.
say this. They just hopped on the bandwagon, honey. Let me just. And Atlanta has made themselves their own little space.
Right.
They're kind of separate from Georgia. Atlanta is almost like the Mecca. Is almost like the new Black Mecca.
Yeah.
So everybody who's Black, powerful, business, all that jazz, Atlanta is the place to go. You know what I'm saying,
Right.
for that. So we do have a level of Black excellence in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So if you want to come there, but a whole state of Georgia
Oh
is
yeah.
another situation. Now I'm from New York.
Yeah.
So I don't have that experience. I come from the melting pot.
Right.
I went to a very eclectic high school. Now all of my public schools were in my neighborhood, so they were all, melanated. But when I got to high school, I went to a performing arts high school. So everybody from everywhere, because it was about your talent. It wasn't about, what I'm
Right.
saying, what your
Skin tone.
what your money was like or what your school district was. You had to do an audition, and if you're talented enough, you can get in. So I didn't really have the issues with being bullied as far as civil rights or being myself or whatever. It was your cliche because I'm fat, I'm dark skinned, I wear a fro, so I'm not very attractive. There was once a couple of girls when I first moved to my to Left Rack who tried to call themselves saying that they was going to jump me or do anything, but I've never had anybody actually truly attack me or overly bully me to the point where it put me in a position to feel a way about myself. Again, I always
Traumatized,
fat
right?
joke. It didn't traumatize me. I had the fat jokes and all of that. But my mom did give me a level of confidence in myself. And I just knew that my personality, who I was inside, was attractive to other people. So I kind of latched on to that. So even though I would say I wasn't that girl, so no guys didn't lust after me, but I didn't have the experience where people thought I was weird or, they didn't want to hang out with me because
Oh, I was definitely the weird one.
yeah,
Let me tell
it
you
wasn't
right
like
now.
well, see, I went to
Queen of the
LaGuardia.
weirdness,
Everybody's
okay?
weird. Well, see, in LaGuardia High School, everybody's weird.
I
Oh,
was
true.
called I was quiet. I'm still quiet
Oh,
to this
yeah. I
day.
can see it.
Like everybody can see, like I'm a quiet person. I'm very reserved, and I'm still to this day shy. Like I have to have a level of comfortability around you to kind of like be myself and just voice, and speak.
Well, I'm honored.
Yeah. And like, unless like if I'm like like if I get pissed off, then another side will come out of me. You would never know that I was a quiet person. Like especially when I'm protecting my children. Like other than that, like I'm just very
Right.
chill. Like that's just my energy. And like my family would tell you, that's just who I am. So like I got bullied for being quiet. Like that's the I got bullied for. And like it was to the point where like I got called a lesbian. Like I had a girl literally walk up to me and was like, "Are you gay?" And I was like, "No, are you?" And what's so crazy was she was like years later she is, and nothing's wrong with that. But it's just like
No.
see how that was projected onto me because that's who you are. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
So it's crazy how, and this is stuff I was asked like as a child, and because I'm quiet and I'm to myself. I don't know. Maybe she liked me. Maybe she found me interesting
She
and
did.
was trying to, you know what I'm
She
saying?
was.
But at
Period. She was
the
trying
time,
to dibble and
I
Yeah.
didn't
dabble.
know that. You see what I'm saying?
Let
So
me
Yeah.
say this too with the
crazy.
bullying. My mama told me this once. There was this boy named CJ that lived Sleeping Power King that I grew up with and when I lived in the projects. He bothered me all the time. He used to have the whole building 1 and 2 making fun of me my aunt gave me this pet name called Gooby. Hated it. I don't know where she get that shit from, but one day she just started hollering my name outside the building. Gooby, Gooby, Gooby. And then the whole park thought the shit was funny.
Not Gooby.
Gooby. I don't know where she got that shit from, but anywho, so I hated that name, and he knew I hated that name, so he made sure he called me that every day. Now, come to find out, of course, he liked me. That seems to be how boys or we're taught. If you like a girl, you treat her bad. That's your way of giving
right.
That's your way of giving her attention. So this is, you know what I'm saying, it's taught. So you're even taught when you like somebody to do something negative to them.
Which is
not even taught to give me a flower. Say something nice. No,
right.
You want to make fun of my name. You want to find my flaws, because growing up, I had really bad skin. My mom died, and then my dad, his side of the family has really whatever they were eating, I'm going to assume. So I used to have these really dark rings around my nose that I couldn't get rid of. So that was the talk of the town when I lived in the projects. He would always pinpoint all of that stuff. And then when you, as an adult, now I realized that this boy was paying a lot of attention to me for him to notice everything about my face. You spent a lot of time examining me to have so much to say about what I got going on.
Right.
So to contest to what you guys were saying, you know, children hurt people. And most kids that do that is because they're dealing with stuff at home and they're not mature enough to deal with their own traumas. So they lash out. And you know what I'm saying? And then they grow up, and then people grow up and still feel it. I got a homegirl who really has an issue with our neighborhood, you know what I'm saying, because of the bullying that went on when she was there. And we're almost 40.
I don't go back to my hometown at all. For real.
Wow. Yeah,
I won't go back to my hometown because it's just too much trauma this way, and I probably should to try to heal it, but because that one town was like,
I was gonna say that just a little bit.
In my own timing.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
To go back to what she was saying. Oh no, you finish.
Yeah. I wasn't finished my thought. I just feel like we as adults, now that we can pinpoint this, we have to teach our children differently. And also, you know, teach our children how to deal with that. Because if you taught your children that the reason why this person is doing this because of this, that, and the third, they might have a different experience. It may not be traumatic for them if they are already aware or not saying they completely understand, but if you teach them that, listen, this person did something because they're feeling this way. It's not because of you. It's not your fault. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, it's not their fault either, because they're kids just like you. So then your child can initially possibly help. I know I've done that as an adult, where I've learned how to hold them instead of bark on somebody or check them, realizing that you're acting this way because of something else that happened to you. This has absolutely nothing to do with me. So if I give you the same energy, all I'm going to do, honestly, is put you in a worse state and change mine and allow you to change mine. Where if I give you the opposite, that can actually change your life. And I've done that before. As bus driver, had the mean stank attitude. I guess he was ready to go. And when I get on the bus, I get my headphones. When I'm ready to go, I get my headphones in my ear, get my music going, and I keep it trucking. I do a lot of walking, so I need to get to point A to point B, and I ain't got no time to waste. So I guess the money didn't go into the chingy thingy like it was supposed to. And I kept it moving, and I didn't hear him. So he was yelling my name all aggressively and just nastily told me, I'm sitting here trying to talk to you, and you need to do. And I just stared at him like doe-eyed, like, you know what I'm saying? Like a deer caught in my eyes, like, I don't understand. Now, my initial, what was going on inside of me is, I'm about to curse this nigga, who you queen mother, do you see? That's what I wanted to do, but all I could do was just look at him. And then fix the change, apologize, and keep it moving, and go back to bouncing. The next day,
and stay in your high vibration.
He apologized, just like your friend came on. He apologized to me. The next time I got on the bus, let me take my little 60 cents. You know what I'm saying? And every time he sees me now, he has this bright smile. He makes sure he smiles when he sees me, just to make sure that I don't think, you know what I'm saying, it's a problem. So if we can get our children to do stuff like that, we'll change the world.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Really I'll be the first to tell my I'll be the first to tell Skylar, look, you and your friend are going through it. It's not you. She has insecurity problems right now. She's reflecting her insecurities on you. Or in reality, they're only being racist because they see your power. I need you to recognize your power. Don't let that hurt your feelings because they're only attacking your power. So don't let them do that. But back to Quita, what you were saying about being quiet. And last week, Queen, you said something about how you didn't agree with the language delays that could occur from childhood trauma. And when, they were explaining that, I took it in a different aspect. I can see how children could have that language delay or that speaking delay and be quiet because at home they're afraid to talk. And so if they talk, they're afraid they're going to get in trouble. If they say something, if they say the wrong thing, and so when you're at home most of your time. And so when the majority of your time you're not able to speak and say what you want to say or how you feel, that transfers into school. You're not speaking up when the teacher, or if the teacher asks you something, you kind of like whisper it out of that sense of fear that you're going to say the wrong thing and get in trouble for it. When you have that in preschool and kindergarten and first grade, that can transmute into transmute into you being a really quiet adolescent and adult because of you just not using that throat chakra enough. You're not exercising your right to speak how you feel enough for you to. And so I've met a few people who they're not mentally ill. They have nothing wrong with them, but just because they're not used to speaking up and saying how they feel, they may talk a little slower, talk a little quieter. And so I could see.
I understand that. I think the word delay is what I have an issue with, because it's one thing to not speak, but it's another thing to not know how to speak. You see what I'm saying? So at least how I perceive when I read it, we try to always put all of these stigmas and all of these things on our kids. You got ADHD, you got this, that, and the third. You got this, that, and the third. When that don't be it. You know what I'm saying? Again, when people they repress, you know what I'm saying? They go within, you know what I'm saying, when they feel scared. That doesn't mean that they're not able to. It doesn't mean that there's something in their vocal cords. It doesn't mean that there's an actual something wrong mentally where they can't grasp words or things of that nature, because that's what they do. Like even with kids, our children, we honestly have this African energy. We come from the jungles and, and free lands where we can run around with lions and shit. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of our children, that's the type of energy they hold. But, school wants you to sit down. They want you in this box. So you need to be quiet when you're told to be quiet. And all this other stuff. And that's not how we move. So they start putting these labels on our kids.
Or trying to put you in a special education class.
Right. And that's not it. And that's where I was coming from. They're quiet because they don't, they this fear. It's not because they're delayed in their intelligence or their development.
Absolutely.
It's just that they're trying to protect themselves. They don't know who to express themselves to. So let me just be quiet. That's the only thing that I know how to do. I think that word delay
there's a better wording for it.
Yeah,
I completely agree with you, Misha. And as an adult, I still, I'm spiritually, honestly, I feel like that's what I've been kind of guided to do, especially as of late, is speak up and voice my opinion and get my thoughts and things out there. And I feel like that's why I was really excited about this platform. And then the ideas that me and you had to do the podcast, because literally most of my life, that's all I've been. Literally, I've had a situation where I was dealing with a man, a guy. And this is going to take me to another point of something that we were just talking about with the bullying. I had a situation with a guy that I was dealing with. We were getting to know each other. And I came out of a situation where I was dealing with my kid's father. I had been dealing with him since I was 16. That was literally the only serious relationship I've ever had in my whole adult life, right? Still to this day, because I've been single for over the last 10 years. So going from that, this is somebody that I had children with at a young age, right out of high school. So we had to grow up. Like we had to become adults before we was really adults. We had no time to really get to know ourselves, figure out who we were. So I had to become a mother before I even knew who I was. You see what I'm saying?
Before you could mother
So
yourself, yeah.
like I went from a lot of childhood trauma, things that I grew up with, abuse, abuse, emotional abuse, seeing my mother get abused, my brother get abused, dealing with drugs in my home, and just different types of stuff that I had to go through as a child. And like you said, I repressed a lot of my emotions. I didn't speak up because out of fear and out of, I had my life threatened multiple
Mm-hmm.
times by my stepfather. And so I was scared to speak up and say things that I needed to say. And that was my first introduction with men and how to, as far as a man. Then my father wasn't really there. So I didn't have like those conversations. He was there, but as far as emotionally and me be able to have somebody, a male figure to talk to, that I had that abandonment issue. So I didn't know how to speak up. I didn't know how to talk or like when to talk or the things to say. So when I met this guy, we were talking, we were dealing with each other. Pretty much, long story short, he decided to part ways with me because of my inability to be able to speak up, to talk, to be able to
Communicate.
find that comfortability around him and his family. And it was hard for me because I had just got out of dealing with my kid's father. Like I said, this is all I know since I was 16. I don't know how to be in a relationship or deal with any of this. So I was quiet, I was shy, I was timid. And pretty much just like I experienced when I was younger, I got bullied because my inability to speak up or because I was quiet. It kind of repeated again dealing with a man or dealing with a relationship. So I was like, he was like, no, I can't do this. I'm not, like after a year or so. And like, I feel like people shouldn't put a time limit on people healing from certain things. And I can
Right.
understand why, that was, it was a draw for him. But at the same time, um like I had to learn, like I was like, dang, like a guy really told me he didn't want to deal with me no more because I wasn't comfortable enough to like speak up and be myself. So that is something that I have been working on. I was like, okay, I need to start speaking up. And like even to this day, like I'm still quiet to an extent. I'm just very observant. But I was like, well, maybe that's just not the person for me. The person that is for me is going to recognize my quietness. They're going to see it. And instead of looking at it like it's a bad thing, they're going to be intrigued. They're going to want to know what's going on. That's not going to be something that's going to push them away. Okay. So I
Right.
had to learn that, you know what I'm saying? It's okay to be who I am. And I shouldn't have to feel like, oh, because I'm not speaking up or being who I am, that's a problem. The right person will bring that out of you. And that's another thing that I feel in relationships. A lot of people like, oh, this is, this didn't work. But I feel like whatever didn't work, it was for a reason. You know what I'm saying? The right person will bring the right things out of you. And
Yeah.
because you can deal with a person and you're a completely different person with that person than you are with this person. So I believe that. And then to kind of go back to the boys picking on you because they like you. That's also a childhood trauma that a lot of men partake in as they get older. And women, when they experience that as a child, when they grow up, they feel like love is pain.
Mm-hmm.
So when they get into these abusive relationships,
Good.
because because that's how they project love. They feel like love is being talked about,
That's
love
passion.
is being talked down, or love
Right.
is control, and that's not the case. If this guy, oh, he loves me because he puts his hands on me, that means he wants me to stay. Like that's not love.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because we were taught that as a child
Yep.
and now we're reliving it. So it's like you have to reprogram your mind and your perception about things like that. When I grew up in an abusive household. My stepfather put hands on my mother all the time. Me and my
Mm-hmm.
my siblings. So growing up, toxic was like the norm. You know what I'm saying? If I'm in a toxic relationship, if he's doing this, he doing that, that means he loves me. So, you have to reprogram your mind and be like, no, that's not love. That's toxic. That's not love, So to find somebody who truly loves you for who you are, whether I speak up or whether I'm quiet and recognizes my energy and flows with me on that, and, you know, can communicate, and give me the platform to speak up and say how I feel without feeling scared to speak up and say how I feel out of fear that they're going to judge me or leave me because I'm speaking up, but instead meet me with that same comfortability and make me feel okay. That's on a whole nother level. Like that's something that I never, you know, have never gotten. So I feel like us women and even men, we have to look at things like that as well, because like I said, that it stems from childhood, how we were perceived, how we were raised, you know, the things that we thought were okay, and this is how somebody's supposed to love you, and that's not the case. You know, love is love. Love is not neglect. No, love is not abuse. Love is not control. Like you supposed to love
Right.
somebody as
That's ego.
are. Yeah. And like you're supposed to accept people as they are and love them who they are. I don't want to change who you are. I want to just grow and evolve with you. And that's love, allowing somebody to have their own freedom and their own identity and be who they are, but still love them in the midst of all of that. And I feel like
Yeah.
people, if you allow people to do that, they will respect you and they will love you more and you will have a stronger bond with them than having that, you know, saying, okay, well, that control over them or wanting them to be who you want them to be. You see what I'm saying? Like everybody
Mhm.
is their own individual self. So love is not restrictions, you know.
Love is a
It's
service.
not.
Love
Yeah.
is a service.
So
Something you give.
that's just my take on it, just kind of just dealing with stuff from childhood, being quiet, you know, and then learning how to voice my opinion, use my throat chakra, still learning how to do
Mhm.
that from time to time,
Yeah.
still struggle with
Doing
it a
Same.
little
great.
bit.
Doing
But
great.
I'm finding, you know, what's so crazy is that because it's nothing but God, I'm finding myself being around more people who are allowing me to speak my mind and not judging me and making me feel
Mm.
comfortable with doing it. So that
Yeah.
is a big part of me kind of working on that, because before I was around people who would judge me, or if I said how I feel, they'll leave me, or you're not the right person, something's wrong with you. I'm not around those
Make
people no
fun
more.
of you.
I'm around the right people. So it's not me, it's the people that I was around. And that's what I'm
Mm.
realizing and I'm
I'm gonna
understanding. I'm
I'm gonna
starting.
switch that up for you, sis. It
Yeah.
was you. It was your energy.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
Changed
You
your
believe in
energy.
yourself, you have more belief in yourself.
So
yeah.
now you're attracting the people who feel the same way about
Right.
you.
Right.
I'm a comment on what you said about the love thing.
Hmm.
That is something that I experience. I have experienced, and I'm actually experiencing at the moment. And you're absolutely right. If I've learned nothing in these 12 years, love is a service. You cannot change people. You do not have that power. All you have is the type of energy that you have. And if their energy matches, you know what I'm saying, it's going to.
Right.
It's going to work.
I've had my
Because
well, most of my relationship issues are based off of my issues with my mother.
Hmm.
I
mhm.
replaced my boyfriend with my mom because of my neglect issues. So every time I've ever gotten upset with him about something, it was based off of me thinking you're going to abandon me or you're going to neglect me like my mom did. Because
That
my mom, she kind of built me up and I felt like she tore me down.
part.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like these really high highs and then these really low lows. But now just recently had a situation where he has a reoccurring issue with communication because of his childhood traumas. And I used to always take that personally because of my childhood traumas. But now that I have pinpointed that, like I just told him the last time, I cannot, it is not fair for me to make him heal faster than he is able to.
right.
It doesn't matter how long it is, it doesn't matter how many years we're dealing with it. If I have a problem, then I gotta leave him. But I cannot
Right.
make him, you
That
know what I'm
part.
saying,
Yes.
grow faster for me.
Yes.
Right.
Journey is his journey, his healing
Yes.
journey is his own. He was not born for me.
Yes.
Right.
As much as we would like to think that he's my
Yes.
twin flame, we ain't never gonna break up, whether it be physically or energetically. We're gonna always be in each other's lives. But at the end of the day, we all have our own purpose.
Yes.
If you really
Mhm.
love somebody,
Exactly.
you're going to allow them to do that with or without you.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true. And
Exactly.
that's why you have to make that decision. Like that has to be your decision to stay or leave. Like the life is all about choices.
That's it.
And so you all, like, we have free will. Like nothing is, set in stone. And yes, we have like our own life journey and our own life path, but we also have choices. That's what God gives us, free will. So like you have the free will to stay in something like that. So you can't force anybody's journey. You have to just respect where they are in life and allow them to progress and move forward, because like you were in the same place before, or you had to progress and move. So like that's what I had to come to the realization with the guy that I was dealing with. He didn't like me because of where I was, because I wasn't yet healed from something that I had dealt with, and I was still quiet and I wasn't comfortable with being open and expressive. And it was a very, like, I don't regret it at all, because I learned so much about myself. And so I'm grateful for that experience and that relationship, even though it did not come to fruition. I'm grateful for it because it made me a better person. And now, I'm moving on and, dealing with other people or whatnot. So, I'm okay with somebody coming to me and being like, hey, this is where I'm at. I'm not where you are. And I still have a ways to go, and I'm like, hey, I understand that. And if you love somebody, like, I'm not telling anybody to wait around on nobody. You know what I'm saying? You live your life. If you feel like you better off moving on or dealing with somebody else, do what you got to do. But if somebody comes to you and tell you that this is where they at, and you feel like you just can't wait and whatever, then do you. But if you really truly love that person and this person is giving you what you need, whatever, then if you want to wait on that person, wait on that person. So I just really feel like, everybody needs love. It's not our job to heal people, but it does, at the same time, I feel like I have like a healing energy. I feel like that's why I've been attracting a lot of broken people.
That's a fact.
Like literally, so much of my life been attracting so many broken people, and I've been the one healing them. And I'm like, but what about me? Like,
and that's the thing. That's the thing is the people that you attract, they actually are reflecting things in you that you need to work in. So, you're attracting unhealed people, but that's because you're still, or, that's because you were still unhealed. The same for me, because I'll be the first one to be like, man, all this good healing energy got all these crazy people coming. But then I have to look at myself and be like, but why are you attracting the crazy people? Why do they find you attractive?
You gotta
do it.
You gotta look in the mirror. You gotta be like, okay, well, what's going on with me? What am I not addressing? And you have to really like face that at face value, and you have to ask yourself those questions and get real deep with yourself if you want to be your best self. So
that's the only way to do it. Nobody does that. Nobody.
So much anxiety. It takes so much anxiety, so much depression, because most of the time you're trying to, you know what it is, but you're trying to figure out why.
Yeah.
Why is this happening to me? Why? Because you're not trying to hold in that mirror. You don't
want to change your perception.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not, you can't look at it like, why is this happening to me? You have to look at this, what is this trying to teach you?
What is this trying to teach you?
The lessons in it.
What am I learning? What is my learn? Like every experience I have with people, no matter what kind of relationship is, I always look at it like, okay, what am I learning from this? What am I gaining from this person? Like if you're dealing with somebody that's draining you and constantly, like I've been around one person and I have never had this experience before, and I just was like, what the heck? When I tell you this man like drained me, like I felt like I can't explain it. It was
he
like
intentionally did that then.
His energy was
he was intentionally draining your energy.
He had a lot of negative energy. He had a lot of trauma. Like when I tell you that, I just felt it. And I'm a very I'm good about energy with people. Like I can just sense it and feel it. And that's part of the reason why I do what I do. So like his energy was so negative. Like long story short, he wasn't around long because I was just like I felt like I was in color and I was in black and white. I was like, no, I can't do this.
It'd be like that.
You definitely gotta find people that match your vibe, and match your energy, and because they raise your vibration and things like that. And like I said, that's one good thing that I'm seeing that God is doing in my life. He's bringing more people in my life that is, helping me evolve to the person I'm supposed to be with and giving me that energy.
Yes.
I feel like these last 10 years, it was more so of like the lessons learning and bringing
The
people
hard
in
lessons,
and the
yeah.
hard stuff. And like, I feel like now it's just like a relief because I feel like the right people are coming
Hmm.
in and the right opportunities. So that is really good. So like I said, even with the childhood trauma stuff, it's just all about perception and changing your mind on how you see things and how you view things. That is a
Yeah.
lot of what got me through. And just my willpower. I think my willpower probably outshine everything.
Perseverance.
Because, yes,
Yeah,
because
that's it.
just wanting more for myself,
Hmm.
knowing that I had even not knowing what the purpose was, just having that feeling deep down like it's something more than this. It got to be something more than this. And
Hmm.
just kind of keep moving forward and just taking one day at a time. I mean, that's all you can, really do. But yeah, a lot of that just, yeah, that's another one thing that I did write down, the mindset and perception. Changing your perception on, your environment and where you are, because you can be in the worst environment, and as long as you see sunshine and rainbows and
The
daisies,
happiest people
you know,
are the poorest people. If
People
you
who
look
have
in
yeah,
any of
less,
these other countries,
because it's
the
all about
people
how
in
they see it.
poverty.
This
Hmm.
country teaches you if you don't have this house, if your kids don't have this designer, this, if you ain't got this car, if you ain't got this type of weed, if you ain't rocking these jewels, then your life sucks.
And
mhm,
it's also about getting rid of the victim mentality that society allows us to be in, rather than taking on that warrior mentality and
mhm,
being like,
But
yes, I was
ooh,
molested. Yes, I was abandoned. Yes, I was neglected. But those each were just obstacles that I have to go
that's
overcome
it.
in this life to have the
So
lessons I need to help more people. When
mhm,
you start seeing the things that you overcome, like, sterile, me being sterile, yeah, that was traumatizing. I was 22, and that still was traumatizing as hell because the only person I had for advice was my white male doctor and my white female uh, doctor's assistants or whatever. And I saw her more than the actual doctor, and they didn't give me any options on how to actually heal myself outside of the hysterectomy. And so that was traumatizing. But instead of like, I went through, of course, it's hard not to go through some sort of depression,
mhm.
but it's about how long it takes you to realize real fast, oh, these were lessons, and these lessons are going to help me help somebody else get through it. And
Yeah,
when you look at your obstacles and your shortcomings and your failures as lessons every single time, and not putting a scale on what that person did or didn't do to you, and you kind of just remove that victim mentality that we can pick up as children, then it makes life a lot easier to get through as an adult, the hard stuff, because you're recognizing right then and there, oh, I'm going through this, but I'm going through this because I'm gonna need the information from the
yeah.
lessons.
It's all shaping and molding us to be who we supposed to be. All
Hmm.
all the experiences, just everything from the friendships that we form, the relationships we have with our family, siblings, mother and father, all of that, and then and most importantly, the relationship we have with ourselves. Some people they don't love themselves. Like I remember years ago, I was like, do I really love myself? Because you have to ask yourself if you love yourself. Because sometimes we would put ourselves in situations not knowing,
Hmm.
like unknowingly, we would put ourselves in situations and stay in these situations, and we know we have an out, but we won't take them. So it's like you have to ask yourself, like, do I really love myself? Because if you love yourself, you wouldn't keep or stay in a situation that's unhealthy for you. So it's
Hmm.
about choosing yourself first. And sometimes we got to be selfish. Some people, like in tarot, people know about tarot, but like in the tarot, the Five of Swords card is a lot about selfishness. And a lot of people are like, oh, what is that? Da, 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 that's negative. But again, it's about perception. Sometimes you got to be selfish. Sometimes you have to look out for
Hmm.
yourself and do what's best for yourself. And that's not anything negative, it's good. So again, anything. You can change anything that's a negative to a positive. Again, it's all about perception and your mindset and things like that. And you just got to stay at a high vibration, stay positive, and don't allow the negative to overcome you. And that's all it's about. And some people just don't have a strong mind. Some people don't have the willpower to do it. And I feel like it's people like us that comes along and kind of give people that reassurance, that you know, hey, if I can do it, you can do it, and not to compare, but to just be a air or a window of, you know, inspiration, you know.
Yeah, I understand.
Well,
I have a little brother.
yeah, I'm glad you said that because I wanted to kind of say that when you was talking about the bullying.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Again, about, you know, perception of the
Mm-hmm.
situation. If you thought that someone, if you knew that there was a higher issue or a deeper issue with why someone was saying something to you or doing something to you, it'll help you not internalize that, because that's really what it is. It's us internalizing what's being said or what's being done.
Mm-hmm.
You're taught not to internalize that. It doesn't matter what somebody says. Doesn't
Right.
matter what somebody does. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to, you know what I'm saying, affect you in a traumatic way.
Mm-hmm.
So we really need to teach our children, honestly, now to have backbones. Because even when I was younger, I'm only 2 years older than you, Takuya.
Mm-hmm.
Bullying for me was a lot different than I'm seeing now. Like I never, ever in my thought process thought about killing myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how many fat jokes there was. I don't care how many nappy heads there was. There's never been a time where I thought of, you know, of ending my life because of what other people said. And I'm saying, and bullying has been around. We see it on TV. I mean, and that's another thing. We portray these things. We teach our kids kind of like what childhood's supposed to be about. Like bullying is supposed to be a part of your childhood experience. It's one of the reasons why they don't really do anything about it. Because let's keep it real. These are kids. How come you can't control these children when you have
Right.
hours out of the day, 5 days out of the week? What do you mean you can't get this child to not, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Say these things or come at the child. Where are the consequences for the bullies?
Mm-hmm.
Because now when the kids get to fighting, both of them get in trouble. That's another issue that I've noticed. Why are you getting children in trouble for protecting themselves? Even in the Constitution, you have the right to bear arms. We have a whole military to protect ourselves, that we have the right to protect this country with, you know what I'm saying, with violence. But then you're telling these children that they're supposed to allow people to degrade them, say things to them, come at them, and they're not supposed to defend themselves. Then you tell them to come to you and you don't do nothing. So what are they supposed to do?
My little brother was married.
Yeah.
My little brother was bullied for 3 weeks in high school. This girl called him the N-word every day. It was actually like 2 months every day. He would go to the teachers, they would ignore it. And this girl was a big cornbread fed girl, right? So my little brother's a little skinny, so she was actually bigger than him. But you know, she was blonde haired and my brother had locks. And and basically, like, she said it one too many times, and he basically just stole on her and punched the girl in the face. And like got into a whole brawl with the girl, you know, and he got suspended and expelled from school for that. They wouldn't even show us let us listen to the audio. They would only show us the visual of the incident, but they wouldn't let us hear what was being said. And to this day, that girl got no repercussions, but my little brother, that set track for the rest of his learning, you know, because he was expelled from school. And so right now, you know, he's going through a thing where his childhood traumas has him at a suicidal point. You know, I went through suicide. I actually took a bunch of really strong, powerful prescribed sleeping pills, but I was actually strong enough after feeling, oh shit, this stuff's starting to work. I actually don't want that, you know, to call the police. I can't say that for him. I can't say that he has that strength, you know, and so because I don't know, we were separated as children for an amount of time. There was all of us, and then there was him at his dad's house, who caused a lot of my traumas and my mom's traumas. So that side of the family was not the best place for him to be, you know. But right now, you know, and he is spiritual, so he understands reincarnation, you know, and he understands the circle of life, and like he's just like, man, I just feel like, you know, I got the lessons I need already. He's only 23. You know, he's like, I feel like I got the lessons I need already. I think that it's time for me to go on and check out and just restart. And I'm like, you can't look at it like that. Like, no, like he's like serious. Like we was on the phone with him for hours, and it's like he ain't trying to hear none of it. He has a clear understanding that he is eternal. basically. And that's when it becomes a little dangerous as a spiritual person, because you know your energy is forever, and you know that if you didn't have all your lessons, you will be reincarnated into the family when it's time. And he's so tired already at such a young age. And so it's so crucial to understand, no matter if y'all were raised in the same childhood or what, your childhood traumas are not going to be the same as everyone else's, and they're not going to handle it the same as you. Like, yeah, I was strong enough to get through it. Yeah, some of my other brothers were strong enough to get through it. But, like, you can't look at him and be like, oh, he'll be all right. Like, he's just got to go through it. We all went through it, and we all got through it.
Not everybody's the same. Yeah, not everybody is the same. It can handle. See, stuff like that is real touchy for me, because I'm a firm believer that everything happens the way it's supposed to.
Right, and that's the difficult part.
Yeah, even the most terrible thing. So I just hope that whatever your brother's journey is, he makes the best choice for himself. And at the end of the day, we know that energy never dies. So, like, a lot of my family members would hate for me to say this, but some of my family members, I'm cool with them now because they're in the spirit realm.
Right.
Probably wouldn't have that relationship with them if they were still here. And I kind of feel that way about some of my other family members. Like, we just not going to be able to get it right in this 3D. It's just been too much damage and too much trauma to this body. You know what I'm saying? That their souls are going to have to leave it in order to really be clear.
Yeah, to understand.
You know what I'm saying? And it's a sad thing from the 3D perspective, because, who wants that?
Right.
We get attached to these bodies that we see and the energy that it brings.
And that's really what it is. It's from a lack it's coming from a place of selfishness.
Selfishness, because you want this person to be here for you. You want this person here. You want to see him. You want to touch him. You want to have what they gave you. But at the end of the day,
my mom, it was funny because my mom we called him up and we was talking to him and stuff. And, my mom, her whole point was, you can't leave me. I'm not giving you permission to leave me. You can't do me like that. You can't do this to me. And he's simply saying, Mom, I'm tired. Mom, I know I'm only 23, but I've already had the obstacles and the lessons of a 70-year-old, and I understood that as his big sister. That breaks my heart to think about and to hear. But you're right. I can't say that his journey has been any easier, or that he should be able to get over his stuff, because I don't know what he's having to get over right now. I wasn't there the entire time, And so I saw that, my mom was kind of reflecting her selfishness, and I think it just kind of made him want to tune her out more and just be like, look, everything happens as it's supposed to. Everything is okay. No matter what, everything is okay. And like, she just wasn't hearing it. And so, yeah, it's really crucial to, when you are trying to talk someone out of suicide, not coming from a selfish place, because that's actually more stressful to be like, you can't leave me, because now that person just feels like they own
this person, right? Yeah,
right, exactly.
Not fair at all. Yeah, it's not fair at all. So yeah, we just gotta, teach. Once you learn, you teach. And honestly, that's what this podcast is about. This is why we're talking about these things, because something has to change and something has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So we gotta do these things,
because those suicide rates is not just it's a lot, and it's a lot of families have been touched by it, and that goes across races, age. Our youth are the ones committing suicide the most, is our babies. And why the fuck is that? Excuse my language.
No. We grown on it. Right. I don't understand it. I don't. Like I said, when I was a kid, it wasn't like that. And like I said, we dealt with bullying and fights and all of that jazz. But I have never seen just this children who y'all just got. We just got here, and y'all are already through with life. Already tired. Like that.
You gotta speak like
it is. That shit's crazy, and people need to understand that. Like, and just think about the things that went on in the history in the past.
Right.
Think about it. Could you really have survived slavery?
I wouldn't know. I'm telling y'all right now, who'll be gang fighting to the death.
And the things that they go through.
Yes.
Not to bring down our issues, because our issues are valid, but
I agree with you, because I literally had this conversation with my son, because he's not doing too good in school, and like I keep giving them like, you know, I give them my experiences, things that I went through. I'm like, look, if y'all could go back and just live my life for about a month and come back, y'all would straighten up real quick, because y'all ain't got it like how y'all got it now. You got a healthy house. You don't have the abuse. You don't have the trauma. You don't got to deal with what I've dealt with when I was at home, and then go to school, get bullied, and then come back and do it all over again.
Right. But you can't say that
yeah,
but you can't say that their journeys isn't
and I
traumatizing
said
them
that
to that,
too.
because
I
because I
agree.
mean, that's basically what one of my other brothers was saying was, man, every time he's been in trouble, somebody's been there to help him. Wasn't nobody there to help me. I had to go through my stuff. You had to go through your stuff by yourself. Didn't nobody help us. He got to go through it by himself. And I'm just like, yeah, but you can't say that. You can't say that, well, you know, what he went through wasn't as hurtful or as traumatizing, because at the end of the day, we're not in their body when they're away from us. So we don't know how they're intaking the stuff that's said to them, and how it's programming their body and their emotions, and what emotions is sleeping within them, you know? And like, that's my only thing, because you're right. Like, even with my daughter, she complains about stuff, and I'm like, just girl, like, yeah, but at the same time, I can't say that that's not traumatizing her to the extent of her wanting to, you know?
It's a balance with that. It's a balance between, I don't want to say strength and weaknesses, because yes, everyone's issues are valid, but but you do also have to take into consideration that it could be worse.
It could be worse.
Gratitude is what brings, you know, a great altitude. So if you're just so, well, you know, my shit is valid, then you're honestly never going to push yourself to get past it. So you gotta have that balance.
Yes.
Everybody has different levels of strength and weaknesses, but you gotta have that balance. It's not to not validate your issues, but understand that everybody got something going on. And your particular issues is what's the word I'm trying to say? Is calibrated to you.
Yep, molded for you to get through.
You get because you can handle it. So certain more, certain less. It all depends on who you are. It's all valid, but we all have to find that strength in us to get over whatever it is. You know what I'm saying?
When I speak to my kids about things that I went through, it's not like trying to throw in your face like what you got going on ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because I take everything that my kids go through as, you know, as something. You know, I listen. I'm very attentive to their feelings and their emotions and what's going on. But it's not as like a throw in your face to say, hey, whatever. I'm just giving you motivation. Like, look, if I could get through this, look, you can get through this. You know what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily like, you know, which trauma or which situation is, you know, stronger or better or worse than the other.
But it's saying,
or trying to compare, you know, apples to oranges. It's just more so saying, hey, look, if I can get through it, if I can get through all of this, you can get through this. You will be okay. Ain't nothing going on with you, okay? So it's more so that type of situation.
No, understand.
Less of like, you know, trying to put so much on you, and just more so of like, look, you got somebody who did this, a strong mom who's been through this and that. If I can do this, you can do it too. So it's just like a air of motivation, and just trying to get them to change their perception on it, and like, look, it's you know, it's not that bad, and if it whatever you're going through, we can get through it together. But you have to, like, I can take you to the water, but I can't make you drink it. You know what I'm saying? I can't be there. I can't do the things for you. You have to be the one to want to turn your life around. Just like, you know, people who are, you know, on drugs or drug addicts, you know, you can take them out of the streets. You can give them a home. You can give them, you know, a bed and food.
You can give them $multi-million.
You can, but it's their mind. If they want to be back out there, they can go back out there. So it's all about the perception. You know what I'm saying?
Mind controls everything. That's your mind controls.
So we could talk to you all day and tell you all day this is the right way and this is the wrong way and preach to you. But sometimes, you know, some people learn, you know, better kind of going through the experience. Sometimes you just got to let them go through stuff, you know.
You gotta learn the hard way.
Learning. Yes, you got to learn the hard way. I remember stuff that I went through when I was a kid, and my mom like, da, 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 and I'm like, okay, Mom. and you learn the hard way. You like, oh dang, my mama was right.
Right.
You know what I'm
Damn, I
saying?
should have listened.
It happens. It happens to the best of us. But it's all about life experiences. And sometimes we got to get out there and have those experiences for ourselves in order to learn. You can talk to somebody today blue in the face and tell them what's right and what's wrong, but they ain't gonna learn until they do it themselves. You know what I'm saying? And you just got to be there as comfort and support after it happens, and not being like, I told you so, but be like, are you okay?
Girl, story of my life. Like, and because it's easy to see what other people got going on.
Yeah.
And, you know what I'm saying? How you be trying to
Mm-hmm.
you be trying to save them for themselves. And,
Yeah.
and I'm sure they feel the same way about us in our moments. And it's just like, nah, but you just gotta let them go through with it. Because like I'm a very balanced person. There are certain situations that I have to go through experience. There's certain things my mama would tell me, Tamara shouldn't do this, my grandpa shouldn't do that, but I needed to experience that for myself. But then there are other things where it was clear, oh, those are the results you got. I don't want no parts of that. So I'm going to as a matter of fact, most of my childhood, I avoided so much watching people around me. Even I'm the oldest. Even my younger cousins, when they started coming into the world, all the ass whoopings that they got for the reasons they got them.
Right.
My mama set the tone when I was 4. I told y'all that story our first episode. I ain't want no parts of that. The mind. Yeah. I ain't want no parts of that. So I wasn't doing all that. Like,
yeah.
Peace, sisters. Can y'all see me?
We can.
I can hear you, but I can't see
you in the darkness of the waters of none. That's what you like. We'll tell y'all about that later if y'all know what that is. We'll get into that another time.
Okay.
Okay. You still black. We can hear you though. We can hear you.
Okay, well, we'll just leave it at that then.
Okay. Well, if y'all don't have anything else to add, because we are definitely an hour and a half in. I told y'all once the conversation start get the flow,
right?
Flowing, you know what I'm saying? So I think we've gotten down to that. I feel like the major difference, the different types that that we can relate to and that we can see in our lives, and defining what that is. So yes, pretty much the adverse issues that you have during your childhood.
Yeah.
Okay? And we all need to, now that you have identified them, or some of them, you can now, I'm not trying to say just put your babies under a microscope now, but pay attention to your kids. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Making these changes now while they're still young and they're still sponges and you still have control over them. Because now,
and don't think too high of yourself as a parent to think that you may not have passed on any traumas to them before your healing stages started. Like you have, like I ask my daughter all the time, Skylar, do you feel like you have any traumas? Skylar, do you feel any type of way about anything that I've went through in my life thus far? Tell me about it. How did it make you feel? What did you learn from that? Like, because I know you're 12, but you still taking on this stuff. Because I was 16 when I had my daughter. So, she's seen me be married and divorced already. And then those came with their own traumas for her. Like my ex-husband getting mad and selling her first pet, who we had for like a year and a half. And so he went and sold the dog out of spite to me. But for her, that was just, a severe loss. Like she cried and mourned that dog for a while. And so now she has a trauma, to where she won't let herself get too close to animals out of fear that they're going to die or be taken away from her randomly. And so, it is, you have to, like, as an adult and as a parent who has had a childhood trauma or has went through traumas as a child, make sure that even if you haven't completely healed yourself, you're at least making sure that the actions that you go through in life aren't affecting or being projected onto your children, and if so, you have to do that work. You can't let them wait till they're an adult and say, now my adult child can deal with their traumas like I did. It's okay to have those hard conversations right now with your children, and not at fault of you. That doesn't mean you're a bad parent. You're even better parent because you're actually bringing acknowledgement to it and trying to help them get through it,
Right. That is so powerful. That is so key. I be telling parents that all the time. You don't understand how holding yourself accountable, you know what I'm saying, will help your kids. It's not about bashing you. I had this
Right.
conversation with my mom, you know what I'm saying, just recently, because I'm the person that brings the truth and all that, and it almost seems like I think I'm better than I'm trying to judge people, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm telling you to hold yourself accountable because I hold myself accountable and I see the wonders that it's doing in my life. The more I hold myself accountable for stuff, the more I actually receive what I want. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm truly want to be the best person. It's not about, holding on to my ego, you know what I'm saying? Or this image of myself that I've put in my mind. I want to be who I'm supposed to be. And if that means changing certain things, then I'm willing to do that. And you don't understand how much that's really what a lot of our kids, all they want. Because you can't go back and undo what you've done. They're now. All you can do is acknowledge that wasn't the right way. You don't understand. Y'all gonna have so many boo-hoo crying sessions with your grown babies when you do that, because that's all they want. Sorry, or an acknowledgement that I didn't mean to do that to you, but I know that it hurts you in a certain way and it stays with you, and I'm sorry because that was not my intentions. That goes a long way with your children.
It does.
I make it evident to, like, if I do something with my kids, if I say something or I act out, like sometimes, I'll let my anger get the best of me or get frustrated. And I don't have a problem apologizing to my kids if I know I'm wrong. I do it in the moment. I don't wait, and I don't let my ego and I don't let my pride get the best of me. Like, oh, I'm the mother, so I know what's best.
Right. I don't do any wrong.
No, I'm gonna if I know I'm wrong, I'm gonna apologize to my kids. I'm like, hey, I probably came on a little bit too strong. I meant what I said, but I definitely do apologize for how I came at you or what I said or whatever. And then I hug it out. I even let my kids do that with each other. If they're arguing or fighting about something, where your brother, where your sister, talk about it. Well, okay, apologize and hug. You know what I'm saying? I have them do that in the moment. We're not about to sit here and linger, have all that bad energy in here. No.
Right. That's good. Those are great tips. And mothers, fathers, our babies of the future. So those are very important. We say you want your children to be better than us. We say that. But this is the time to prove that.
Yeah.
Place the actions into making sure that they can have the ability to be better than us.
That's right. So you got the tools to do that. So unless y'all got more to add, I'm gonna let y'all have the rest of y'all Saturday.
Love y'all. I love y'all.
Yes. Well, we're going to have you guys talk about your stuff real quick. Misha, since you the ghost, we're gonna let you go first.
Okay. So I know these conversations that we're having with everybody can be triggering. I offer, and next week I'll get better to where I actually will provide a Reiki cleansing, a quick Reiki cleansing for the group, for everyone watching, because Reiki does travel through time and space effortlessly. And so it doesn't matter where you are. You don't have to be here with me. But if you are in the greater Lexington area of Kentucky, I have a healing center here downtown Lexington where I do energy cleansing, Reiki healing, healing therapy, sound therapy, crystal therapy. And that's really what I'm all about, is energy on a cellular level, positive energy, negative energy, and teaching people how to transmute the low energy that they go through in their lives to being more effective and high vibrational so that they can get the most out of life.
All right. So as y'all can see her email, I got your little video working. Oh, I'm getting good. Yeah.
Look, and I'm going to get a better picture. I am. Look, I love it. It's very colorful. My center each room is a different chakra color. I have 4 rooms, and I basically see it as the heart, the chamber, because Lexington is literally the center of Kentucky, and I'm in the center of Lexington. So I'm very serious about the energy work that I do here because I feel like it's part of the crystalline grid. So yeah, each room has a different chakra that is based around that helps with different things, and yeah, it's a good. I'm thankful whenever someone gives me feedback on the energy that they get from my place.
All right. Next up, we got Scorpio Sun.
Well, I consider myself a spiritual counselor. I do tarot readings. You can contact me at my email. That's Scorpio2 Sun2. That's Scorpio, the number 2 Sun2 at gmail.com. If you're interested in a personal reading, I do anything from career, finances, just personal stuff, love, whatever the case may be. And also I do market. The market is the first weekend of every month. It's Saturday and Sunday. It's at the Clarion Hotel. So if you want a like in person live reading, you can check me out there. I more than likely would be there this month. So you can check me out there as well. And you can also check out my YouTube channel. It is called Scorpio Sun, but you can search me by Taquita Parker. And I have a channel there where I post videos daily, just different videos, different vibes. I got something for everybody, so you can check that out there. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I do.
All right, all right, all right. And you guys know who I am. Yes, I am Plum Queen. This is Inspiration TTV. Let me get my information up here. You know, I got 5 fingers, so I go a little slower. But here we go. We are launching our network channel on Roku TV in April. My birthday is going to be popping. We are going to be on TV. So you're going to get all of our podcasts and all of the great content that we're going to be having on our channel. So make sure you guys look out. If you have Roku, make sure you get Inspire Media Network. If you don't have Roku, this is a great time for you to go on and get you one of them so you don't miss any of this inspiration. All right. You can contact us if you are a content creator. We are looking for content creators. Anybody who has, a dope show, dope podcast that you would like to be shown on TV. YouTube is popping, all these platforms, but we're talking about real live on television. Okay. Also, if you're a business, we're looking for businesses who want to be advertising their businesses on television. So right now, those are the things that we are doing. This podcast is every Saturday rising at 9 a.m. Okay. And also tomorrow, I'm going to be picking up with Sundays with Spirit. Myself and my cousin, her name is 33 Master Teacher. We are going to come here live and we're going to educate you on tarot and different types of African spirituality. I feel like religion is a big thing and I don't knock whoever, wants to deal with that. But I feel like we need to have more of we need to be more educated on what spirituality really is, because I see that it's becoming a fad. So we're going to have to, really address that from now on. Like I said, just like today, we chuckling on childhood traumas. On Sundays, we're going to be hollering at spirit. So, all of this growth, all of this inspiration, and all of this healing, that is what we are about. Okay. So you guys can check me on my YouTube, on Inspiration TTV. You can find my link tree at Inspiration TTV that has everything I have going on. You can also catch this podcast. If you're not a watcher and you're more of a listener, you can go on Anchor. That's also Inspiration TTV, where you can get this podcast and all the other podcasts that we have to offer. All right. So we love, love, love y'all. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all's evening. Okay. And remember to grow with us. Peace, y'all.